And now it is my great honor to introduce a very, very dear friend of mine, someone that I've been so proud to watch learn and grow. He's one of the earliest friends of the Promise Zone, even before he was an elected official, and that is my dear friend, County Commissioner Charlie Cavell. Come on up, Charlie.
Hey, everybody. Did you all hear my joke about Jared's here before when I did this the first time? Say it again. Oh. Okay. Ask Jared about it. Okay, so I'm Charlie Cavell, and I just want to lift up real quickly that the Promise Zone is super important in my life, not just because my wife used to work for a Promise Zone, but also I'm a person who had, just for all the educators in the room, I had a 0 EFC on my FAFSA. Does anyone know what that means? Yeah. Okay, a 0 estimated family contribution for my financial aid to be able to qualify or able to afford college. So I just want to say, I understand what people that benefit from the Promise Zone go through and how much of a change in opportunity, how much of a transformative impact the Promise Zone is on all these people's lives and also on the community of Hazel Park. So like, shout out to Hazel Park for being ahead of the curve. So I'd like to introduce Haley Stevens, our Congresswoman. So let me read this because her bio is very good. Haley grew up in Rochester Hills and graduated from Seaholm High School in Birmingham. She earned a master's degree in social policy and philosophy and a bachelor's degree in political science and also philosophy from American University. Before being elected to Congress, Congresswoman Stevens served as the Chief of Staff to the U.S. Auto Rescue Task Force. That was the federal initiative to save GM and Chrysler and thousands of Michigan jobs from going away. After serving in the Obama administration, because this is like a cabinet level post that she had, after serving in the Obama administration, Congresswoman Stevens worked in manufacturing at a research lab focused on the future of work in the digital age. As soon as she got elected to Congress in 2018, she got right to work being elected as co-president of the House Democratic freshman class of the 116th U.S. Congress. And so that's kind of like a politic-y kind of language, but if you have a politician at your table, just ask them and they'll tell you that that is like a really big deal to be able to get that. And as part of the 2020 redistricting, the city of Hazel Park became part of Congresswoman's district in the 11th Congressional District, which has been proudly represented by her since her first election. So, Congresswoman Stevens, and this is the really important part for us here tonight, she sits on the House Committee of Education and Labor, which is what we're here to all talk about. And she's also on the House Committee on Science, Space, and Technology, where she serves as the ranking member of the Research and Technology Subcommittee. So on these committees, Congresswoman Stevens works to protect access to health care, promote manufacturing, stand up for workers' rights, increase investment in critical research and development, and most fundamentally, and most apt for why we're all here gathered, expand educational opportunities. So without further ado, Congresswoman Stevens, please.
Allow me to just say it is my deep and profound honor to be in this room of community, to be in this room of educators, to be in this room of Promise Zone scholars and change makers and future leaders. I'm coming to all of you on the heels of a very profound weekend. And this was not planned. I had received an invitation to be with you all, and I've heard about this Promise Zone program for a long time. This visit has been a long time coming, and certainly we're always grateful when we can be in the room together. But I'm coming to you all on the heels of a weekend that I spent in Alabama on the civil rights journey. And I was with colleagues, I was with business leaders, I was with students, and I was walking the path that people who fought for voting rights, I was walking the path of people who fought to desegregate our schools. We were reflecting on our history as a nation, and we were also reflecting on this notion of healing and how we heal as a nation from some of the struggles of our past is to learn, and it's to recognize history, and it is to recognize truth. And so when I think of the profound action of the Promise Zone program, in recent history, here we all are recognizing 10 years of accomplishment, 10 years of serving as a best practice from our mighty city of Hazel Park. And there certainly is a great history in how this program got moved and put together and funded and how we found the tax dollars. And I want you all to think about it in the context of 10 years on and what we had been coming out of, right? Because I get, on occasion, the bird's eye view as your member of Congress. Tomorrow I return to Washington. Tomorrow I return for the Education and Labor Committee markups. You know, we're talking about how we're going to best educate our students. We're going to talk about this work that all of you are a part of. And I thank you sincerely for allowing me to return to the nation's capital on your behalf to brag about who you are and what this program is. It is incumbent on me to share the narrative of our community, to share the successes of our community with my colleagues from all over the country. Every zip code is represented in the nation's capital, and yet I represent our zip codes, and yet I represent our schools, and yet I represent our students. And you see, 10 years on, we were coming out of a certain way here in Michigan. We were coming out of a certain way in the nation. A great recession. It's been one heck of a start to the 21st century. And if you aren't paying attention, we're fully in it. They're sort of saying the millennials, it's catching up to us. The 90s were 30 years on. We're squarely in the 21st century. New challenges, new opportunities, new economies of scale. And yet some of the ways that we do things remaining the same. The traditions of educating our students and allowing them to achieve their goals, allowing them to become the first in their family to get that four-year degree, to get that trade skill, to make a difference for our economy. And so when the Great Recession hit, and many of us in this room know this very palpably, Michigan was a nadir of this. It wasn't for sale signs in front of our homes. It was a foreclosure crisis met with an industrial crisis. And yes, many actors in our government on both sides of the aisle came together to solve those problems, and yet at the local level, we were left with what's next. How do we innovate government? How do we innovate at the local level to achieve better results? And I think all of you can proudly say that 10 years in to being a Promise Zone neighborhood and community, you have achieved success. You've achieved a best practice for this nation, a best practice for this state, and something that we want to build on. And I want to thank this board that comes together for Promise Zone. I want to thank the sponsors. I want to thank the community leaders who have dug deep when there wasn't necessarily a path. There wasn't a precedent, but you dug deep. We've invested. I want to thank the families, because we all know it's not easy. And so when you're making the time to come here tonight, the students who are leaning in, our educators who are leaning in, we're so proud of each and every one of you. And part of what I'm eager to take back to Washington, and as your representative in the nation's capital, is how do we achieve equality, right? How do we achieve equality so that every student, no matter their zip code, can get access to a good education, can get access to good post-secondary education? How do we achieve equality so that no student has to fear violence in their classroom? Common sense practices across the board. I am very optimistic, my friends, because even in these last 4 years, a pandemic hitting, a shutdown, stymieing to our economy. Remember, your congresswoman is out in Washington, and you knew we were on to something when the Texans came up to me, and they said, how are you doing this in Michigan? You are responding to the supply chain disruptions, the empty shelves in our stores. Your automakers are making sure that the hospitals have their goods. And the answer, simply put, my friends, which all of you are tied to with the promised zone, is that we rise to every challenge here in Michigan. We are a resilient people. When it's good times and things are flourishing, we're the envy of the world with what's happening in automotive manufacturing. When times are tough, we know how to buckle down and rise through those challenges. And so those are the messages. Those are the deals that you have filled me with as someone who is carrying a very heavy voting card on behalf of what we need to do to move forward and continue to best expectations. You know, President Truman, in another time, in another era, in another century, at the close of some very tumultuous times that befell the world, said that America is not built on fear. And I think about that because we are certainly not a fearful people in southeastern Michigan. We are doers, we are innovators, we are the folks who rise to the challenge. America is not built on fear. America is built on determination. To the students in the room, to the scholars in the room, the determination to succeed, the determination to best expectations, the determination to rise to the unique challenge that had befell your generation. America is not built on fear. America is built on courage, on determination, and the willingness to do the job at hand. And so to each and every one of you who has made this decision on this somewhat wintry, beautiful night that we experienced in Michigan in early March, you made the decision to come here. You made the decision to bring somebody here, potentially. You made the decision to continue to invest in the future of southeastern Michigan. So as we inch towards the quarter 21st century, as we continue to write the narrative of our future today, this inextricably is a part of that success. And I want to thank you for being community members, for being leaders, and I want to thank you for being people who fulfill my work. This has been deeply moving just to be in the room, just to sit down with some of our students and hear what they're learning and doing and discovering and the ways that they are moving forward. And you bet your bottom dollar that we will be here again next year and the year after. And we will be here 10 years on from now, awarding and recognizing the Promise Zone scholars of the future. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you very much, Congresswoman Stevens. So right now, what I would like to do is we're going to discuss the state of the Promise Zone with Musa Traore, the interim executive director.
Okay, thank you. Good evening again. So, can you hear me? Yes. Can you understand me? Yes. Okay, I as I tell my students, if you can understand me, that means you are college ready, because college is about diversity. Thank you. So my name is Musa. So I'm the interim executive director of the Promise Zone, and I'm joined by Fernando, the program director as well. So I'm going to have him introduce himself, and then we will go through the state of the promise.
Thank you, Musa. Hi, folks. Excuse me. My name is Fernando Monge. I'm the new program director of the Hazel Park Promise Zone. Very nice to meet you, folks. I just started about a month ago. Musa's about ready to give the state of the promise. Hopefully I can be doing that next year myself. I just wanted to quickly introduce myself and say how grateful I am that you have welcomed me to your community, Hazel Park, and how grateful I am that you have allowed me and are allowing me to work with your students to help them be successful. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. So now the next phase will be the state of the promise. And this year is very unique and very special for us. This is the 10th anniversary of the Hazel Park Promise Zone giving out scholarships. So with that being said, the state of the promise will be divided into three phases. So we have the PowerPoint, we have the video testimonial of students who went through the program and benefit from the scholarship, and we will have the student panel lastly. So now let me get to this PowerPoint presentation. So today I'm going to walk you through 10 things that you didn't know about the Hazel Park Promise Zone from 2012 to 2022. And they are all exciting things that you must know and we should know. So the first thing is, like, in 2012 is when the first cohort of scholarship started within the Hazel Park Promise Zone. Thanks to the Sutarik Meyer Foundation and the Walmart Foundation, we were able to reach the goal of being a nonprofit providing scholarship to college students. So that was the initial step. So we'd really like to thank again those two foundations for planting the seed of this organization. So the next one is from 2011 to 2016, a lot of things has happened with the Hazel Park Promise Zone that you must know. So the first thing, what started as a scholarship program has turned into also providing college advisors to high school students. We learned that you cannot just throw money at students and send them to college. You need also to make sure before they take the money to go to college, they do understand where do they fit, where do they match. And that is a two-way partnership. You have the Promise Zone, the Hazel Park Schools, and the MS2 CSC. So we added the first thing that you must know about the Promise Zone from the get-go. And the second one is the post-secondary advising class. And that is something that you must be aware of. The Hazel Park Promise Zone also do provide a post-secondary advisory class for students who are college-bound. So that will supplement the work. And all the requirements are how do you apply, how do you do X, Y, and Z to get to the next school. So which school you fit to, which school is the match for you. So here is the most important thing about these two programs. As we are working with first-generation college students, it is very important to have someone who they can talk to. I'm going to give you an example. Back in 2019, December 21st, 2019, a student who's going to be on the panel today emailed me. He said, I got into the University of Michigan. Without it wasn't possible. Thank you for all your support. I said, definitely. I cannot wait to meet you tomorrow morning at the school. And guess what? That student today is one of the young dynamic professionals in Michigan workforce. So this tells you how important it is to mark. Thank you. It is very important to mark the first generation college student with someone who can walk them through the process. So we are in Hazel Park, we are also strengthening communities. So what I mean by that, not only we are a Promise Zone, but we were able also to shape communities around Michigan, around college access and college-going culture. One of the examples is the Michigan Promise Zones Association. So we were able to shape that organization, not only shaping it, but also we lead by example. We were able to be the first president of that organization until 2 years ago. So that's also a model in Hazel Park Primary Zone, and that's something unique and special you must know about the Hazel Park Primary Zone. Not only that, having a college advisor and a success coach in your organization, having that culture that is transformational, give the opportunity to your people to shape more around the college success. So that's what is happening in Hazel Park. You believe it or not, the Hazel Park Primary Zone is leading the way in college success work in Southeast Michigan. There is a new coalition coming up called the Detroit Access Success Coalition, and the Hazel Park Primary Zone also, the Success Coach is a co-founder of that organization, which is bringing 19 organizations together. And as I said, 10 phenomenal things about the Primary Zone. In 2019, we learned that still there is more work to do. We have a college advisor that is helping students get to school. We are giving them money to be successful, but that is not enough. You need to wrap around services when they get there. So how did you do that? So thank you to the Barber Group. They were able to fund us to have a college success program, plus the community mentoring program. And the model is unique as well to the Hazel Park Primary Zone. So our model is based on each and every individual senior who goes to college from Hazel Park have access to the college success program. But you have to find a way to make up the capacity gap. So the way we model that is to bring the community people in to become mentor for us. And today I want to also take this opportunity to thank the ADK retiree teachers who were the first community mentor who helped us kick off the mentoring program. And lastly, we are an award-winning organization. What I mean by that, in 2017, we won the Michigan Cardinal Award for just being able to foster a college-winning culture in the building between college counselors and the primary zone. So we got that in 2017. And also in 2019, we won the Governor FAFSA concept in Michigan among the medium-sized high schools. So that is a big achievement as well. From 2012 to 2019, we were able to win the FAFSA contest in Michigan. So that is another phenomenal thing about the Hazel Park Primary Zone. And lastly, we also expanded scholarship now to more, and we have a more inclusive scholarship. So we have the David and Jacob Family Foundation, who also funded us to help our universal scholarship. So now any student who goes to Hazel Park School and you make it to a college, you have access to the universal summer scholarship, up to 4 credits at any given community colleges here in Michigan. So lastly, I will give you the impact report for this year, 2020-2021. So in 2020-2021, we were able to give over $94,000 in scholarship to Hazel Park scholars. 193 high school juniors were able to take part of the SAT prep class through the Hazel Park Primary. Currently, our college students are averaging 24 credits per year, and the average GPA is 2.9. So we are just getting started, and I can now wait to see how the next 10 years will take us. So now let me tell you, as I said, I'm in a very unique position to tell you why this organization is a good one. So as you can know, any nonprofit that is able to engage the stakeholder in the process, and also any nonprofit that is able to bring in the beneficiary to talk about the impact is a benchmark in nonprofits. Not only that, Hazel Park schools and Hazel Park community believe in college access and college success. I'm the true example of that. I'm the first generation American immigrant. I have been interviewed around many college access programs, but today I also want to give back to the Hazel Park community for believing in me, believing in college education, believing in college degree. So that is very important. And I'm the reflect also of the student of Hazel Park. Low income, high achieving. Lastly, as Brandon mentioned the last time, it takes a village to raise a child. So that village is here today. So this is my 7th year. And then there are a few people here I would like to recognize as well, who did above and beyond work, even in the Hazel Park Primary Zone. So one of them is Kayla Ronnie Slade, who did a lot of work for this organization. And the next one is Brandon Britton, so who put in all the fresh knowledge from last year. And the next one is Desiree Quinn. Desiree Quinn is unique and special. She helped us through the COVID years, getting our students to college. So that is very unique. And the last one is the Hazel Park teachers. We cannot do this without you. I know. You guessed it. Taking a student to a college campus visit is taking your learning away, but you understand there is something else that student must know before getting to the next step. Thank you. Okay, so thank you so much for your attention. And the next transition will be to the student panel. And the video will play. You can hear from the student who benefit from this program 10 years ago. And then also the next one will be the student panel. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, my name is Musa Traore, Acting Executive Director of the Hazel Park Primary Zone. I have spent the past 7 years working for the Primary Zone. Over these past 10 years, however, I have seen the Primary Zone consistently fulfill its mission of being a leader among Michigan's 15 primary zones. It has done this by innovating and diversifying its programs. The community investment reflects a shared vision and support for our work, and we have been able to create programs to meet the students' needs, such as the College Success Program, the College Advising Program, and the Community Mentoring Program. We have a shared vision of making post-secondary access a reality for Hazel Park students. We have shown for a decade that this investment is paying off, and we have accomplished what we said we will do, which is to make sure that students can go to and through college or a trade school. Also, the Primary Zone has consistently strived to involve students' voices in the work by asking and listening to our students.
What I think is unique about the Promise Zone from that long ago is we were sort of the guinea pigs, and so no one really knew what was happening or how it worked or what was going on. So it was unique to be with a bunch of people who equally had no idea what was happening. But I think that it was something that experimentally I was glad to be a part of, because then for years to come, they could not only learn from us, but we knew what worked and what didn't.
I work for Macready Group. They are a company that has a service, site as a service, software as a service. We essentially take research facilities and we keep track of all of their documentation online for them. So getting rid of all the paperwork and turning it into e-files.
Graduated from Hazel Park High School in 2018, and then I attended the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor and got my bachelor's degree in architecture. And now I am the Challenge Detroit Fellow at Smith Group right out of graduation. I started here, and I love my job. It's pretty awesome.
I got my job in this apprenticeship, and I've been working there since September of last year. I knew about the Promise Zone since all the time through I was growing up. My parents moved to Hazel Park, and they knew the Promise Zone was a thing. They wanted me to go to Hazel Park schools, especially because of that.
The Promise Zone really supported me mostly financially in my first year of undergraduate. Without it, I don't think I would have been able to afford my first semester of textbooks. I wouldn't have been able to afford the food packet that you have to take when you live on campus for the first year, which is required at the college that I went to. And it was something that I really deeply appreciated, and something that as a first generation, college student, I didn't know what was happening. I didn't really understand the process.
I think it's especially helpful for those that are trying to decide if college is right for them. They can go ahead and get 2 years of education, college education, and a degree, all for free. All they got to do is show up and do the work. They don't have to worry about the financial burden, which otherwise would stop a lot of people from even attempting it.
I've always felt really supported by them, and there's that constant check-in from them. Even when I'm not thinking about the Promise Zone, they're thinking about me.
I don't think I'd be where I am now without the Promise Zone. Going to OCC with the credits from the Promise Zone really helped me and allowed me to learn a lot of things and expand my horizons.
I'm incredibly grateful for the amount that they've given me and the help they give me along the way. And like I said, the big goal in the end is to be debt-free, and without the Promise Zone, I'd be looking at a lot longer time span to reach that goal. So I'm forever grateful for them.
I'm in a unique position where economically I can support a lot of the places and events and things that supported me. And that's something that I love about my job and about the situation that I'm in. Then I'm economically stable enough that I can go back and donate, which I do, or that I donate my time. I do a lot of pro bono work in the same places that were offering scholarships to first-year law students who were in the economic position I was in then. And I'm a really big proponent of coming full circle and giving back to the places that helped you get there. And I love that I can do that.
I'm going to finish this fellowship, and after that I'm hoping to go back to grad school. So who knows if the Promise Zone will support me again there, but maybe I'll be reaching back out once I'm in school again.
We have allied with Michigan's vision of 60% of the population obtaining a post-secondary credential by 2030. We are operating in partnership, but our mission is very community-focused. We have centered our work around best practices, research that has supported college access and success, and have always incorporated research into our work. We are a data-driven organization, verifying, analyzing, visualizing, and disseminating that data for a better strategic management to shape local and national policies to support the most vulnerable students' needs. We have worked to increase post-secondary education access across the state, including partnering with the Michigan College Access Network, the Michigan Promise Zone Association, and the Detroit Alumni Success Coalition. Currently, we are expanding to our district's 2 alternative high schools, and we are always looking for ways to increase our overall impact in Hazel Park educational community. I have been in the unique position of playing 3 roles in 7 years: college advisor, success coach, and now in the interim executive director role. These experiences have given me the unique privilege and opportunity to reflect on our successes over the past 10 years, and I can't wait to see what the next 10 bring. So Sarah is the class of 2021, so she graduated from Hazel Park High School, and now she is at the University of Michigan. And as I said, here in the Hazel Park Promise Zone, now we are at the point where we have all students, our students are in the point where they can give back and lead the work and be the leader of this. And we believe in youth involvement, we believe in youth empowerment. So with that being said, may I have all the student panelists come forward too.
Musa so graciously introduced me. My name is Sarah Gajos, and I am a current sophomore at the University of Michigan. I am majoring in political science with a minor in social class and inequality studies, and I am hoping to take that to become a civil rights attorney or eventually end up in Congress one day. So I have the great honor of facilitating the student panel, and as some of you may know, I have a reputation for asking too many questions, so who better to have facilitate and ask people questions? So can I just go down the line and have each of you introduce yourselves, please?
Hi, I'm Lou Frank. I'm an apprentice machinist. I go to school at OCC and work at Williams International, where I have the apprenticeship.
Hi everybody, I'm Brittany Peralt. I graduated from Hazel Park in 2017. I currently teach kindergarten for Farmington Public Schools. I graduated from Michigan State and I'm finishing up my master's degree this year. Go Green!
I'm Veronica Stahersky. I am a civil rights attorney, and I'm not a current student though, so.
Hi everyone, my name is Haley Beverlin. I graduated from Hazel Park in 2018 and then the University of Michigan just in 2022. I am now an architectural designer at Smith Group, where I'm also the Challenge Detroit Fellow.
Hello, my name is Ryan Drew. I graduated from Hazel Park High in 2017, University of Michigan in 2021 with a bachelor's degree in computer science, and now I'm a full-time software developer.
Hi, my name is Shaq Njai. I'm currently a sophomore attending Michigan State University, pursuing my bachelor's degree in finance.
Okay, so Ryan and Haley, I'm going to put you guys on the hot seat first. So my question for you guys, you can choose who wants to answer first. Thinking back on high school with what you knew about the Promise Zone, what do you think about the Promise Zone today?
I will start and then I'll hand it over to Ryan to add something else. But I think when we were in high school at least, we knew about the Promise Zone. We knew it was there to help you when you went to college. But then once I was in college, I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. They're going to buy my books. I worked through college, so sometimes that Promise Zone money, that was extra hours I didn't have to work while I was there. So, you know, they were always just that lending hand in the background. And I think it really showed once we were in college and could actually utilize the resource.
Right, so for me in high school, I knew that the Promise Zone was an organization to help students go to college and help pay for that. So going to a community college for 2 years to get an associate's degree, or the equivalent, you headed to a university. And now, seeing the presentation that we just watched, there's actually a lot more that I wasn't aware of that I benefited from the Promise Zone. For example, in 2016 they started the class for college preparation, and that was huge. That was a great help. From there I was able to do FAFSA in class. I was able to go on a lot of university trips and ask any questions that I had there. And so they've been helping me the whole way through, and I didn't even know it.
Okay, so Brittany, thinking back, how did the Promise Zone support you, and how can you reflect on that support today?
So I had a really unique situation. I didn't live in Hazel Park, but I attended Hazel Park schools my entire K-12 career. So I technically didn't, I wasn't given the Promise Zone. But that didn't stop me from reaping the benefits of the Promise Zone in like my senior and junior years. And so when I think about what the Promise Zone offered me and the support I got, the ability to have someone to help me fill out FAFSA, to guide me through college applications, all the things I didn't know as a first-generation college student. Yes, I didn't reap the benefits as so many of our other students do, but I got the unique benefit of seeing it through a different lens. And I thank Musa every day because he reached out to me constantly as I moved to Michigan State, running me from one place to another on college campuses. Musa was a huge support, and so I think about how much I was supported and how I really couldn't have done it without the Promise Zone.
So can we just take a moment and give a round of applause to our first generation college students, because as one myself, it is quite difficult. So the next question I have is for Lou. What does being a part of the Promise Zone mean to you now that you are in the workforce? And what do you think about the Promise Zone program in general?
Now that I'm in the workforce, obviously you never forget your roots, where you came from, and I always remember I'm from Hazel Park and benefited heavily from this program, and I like the Promise Zone. It helped me a lot to get my classes to start out of the way, and financially helped me with the things like the gift card program, and yeah, it's been a great program.
Okay, Veronica, why should the community support the Promise Zone?
Cool, I get the loaded question, no pressure, it's totally fine. So I mentioned it a little bit in the video that we were like the guinea pigs when I was receiving this. And what I think is totally amazing is some of what they're talking about here, I don't think was even thought of when I was first applying for this. So sitting down for the FAFSA, incredibly stressful, and I had no help, right? And I am first generation, so as much support as my mom gave me, which was incredible, she also had no idea what we were doing, right? And we were in the dark, and so we got through it, and we were able to push through, and everything is great. But the idea that I hear that these students don't have to do that anymore is wonderful, right? You don't have to find your way in the dark. You don't have to wait for someone else. It's there for you. And earlier, I was so happy to hear that they brought back those welding and workshop classes that were disappearing. And I think that coming around and seeing how to support students in any and every capacity, it's not just the Promise Zone, right? It's your community. And when you support the Promise Zone, you support the community, and vice versa. And that's really what this is about. And that's what it means to me in a way.
So I have a similar question for Shek. What would you tell someone about why they should support the Promise Zone?
Well, first of all, I would start by saying that being a college student comes with a lot of stress and burdens, and having the Promise Zone there to take some of that stress and burden away really helps us focus more on our academics. Through its mentors, they teach us a lot of things, and this improves mentally, physically, academically, and especially financially. And with us being the next generation or the future leaders of the world, I guess by investing in the Promise Zone, you're also investing in the future, successful future.
So going back to Haley, what would you say to your high school self about what college or the Promise Zone could or should be?
I would say to my early college self, late high school, is that I wish I would have reached out more to the Promise Zone potentially. Like I said in the video and in my last answer, they were always there for me, in the background. They would be like, hey, Haley, how are you doing? Musa would reach out. And I think that being more involved earlier on would have been even more exciting for me, being able to help at events like this and just really utilizing all of the resources that there are to offer. Because watching the presentation, there was things that I learned still, even though I just received help from them. So, yeah.
So this is a question open to any of you guys. what is your favorite thing about being in college, or what was your favorite thing?
Football. Anybody else?
Other than football, because OCC doesn't exactly have a team. Learning new things every day and getting to sharpen my skills, doing many different things.
I would say football, but I feel like that's going to start a problem around here. I would say my favorite part about going to college was introducing myself and saying I'm from Hazel Park. A lot of people can't say that about where they come from. And the Promise Zone and Hazel Park schools and the educators that made us made me really proud to be where I'm from.
I was uniquely beneficial to also be on a study abroad program when I was in college, and I think that that was a great experience. And it was a unique transition because reaching out, I was actually given a fellowship, and that process was very similar in that it was the inaugural system, and going through the Promise Zone actually helped me help them figure out what we were all doing. And I think the opportunity to study abroad, especially if you can do it while you're in college, is an incredible experience that I'd recommend to anyone at any age.
I'm going to give a real answer too, because everyone else gave really good answers. But I would say my favorite thing about being in college was exploring a degree that I really love and really finding myself and what I'm interested in there.
Yeah, I definitely echo Haley with my favorite thing for college was finding something new that I had no idea was even a thing. I didn't know that programming existed before I went to college, and then I went there and I fell in love with it, and now it's my full-time job, and it's just the opportunity that was my favorite part. But aside from that, the dining halls, I would say.
I would say my favorite part of being in college is just getting the opportunity to pursue what I want to do in the future, and also having the opportunity to go to school with my best friends. Also, helps me makes it a lot easier. So I can say that.
You guys gave really great answers to that question. So this is a question that I would like to listen to your answers to, personally. So what advice would you give to your high school self now, if you could, knowing everything that you've learned already?
I guess I can start because I graduated, I think, the longest ago, so that's fine. I have a tendency, and I especially did then, to take everything super seriously, and I think that in my career, knowing I wanted to do that helped me ultimately. But college, as we've just discussed, is about so many things in addition to what you're learning and how you're learning it. So I would tell my high school self to just relax a little bit, and everything's going to be okay. And it's okay not to know. Like, you don't know so many things, and that's totally fine, and you'll get there. So that's what I would tell my high school self.
So working and learning in the trades is every day something new, and you're learning something new. And I think I tell my high school self to never stop asking questions and take advice from people as much as I can.
I would tell myself that the hard work really does pay off in the long run. I dreamt my whole life of going back to school to spend the rest of my life in school to be a teacher. And that's a really hard thought when you are a senior in high school, thinking you're going to spend the rest of your life in school. But I think I could tell myself the hard work pays off, because when you live your dream, your job is not a job. It's the best.
I think I would have told high school me to just stay curious, just really put yourself out there and try to learn in every aspect you can, and I think being curious is one of the best ways to do that. So.
I think I would tell my high school self that you do belong. One of the hardest things about going to U of M was that you worry that everybody there is incredibly talented and very intelligent, and maybe you're just not meant to be there, not cut out to be there. And the classes kind of echo that because they are very, very challenging. However, one thing I did learn going through college is that a lot of people are struggling just like you are. They feel the same way, that maybe they're not meant to be there, but through class and organizing with your students, you find out that you can get through it, and everybody feels the same way you do.
I would tell my high school self to just invest in yourself a lot, whether that's through the classroom or outside the classroom, because along the way you'll learn that it really does help out, whether this is through your academics or just your mental health. Investing in yourself really does come a long way.
So similar to that last question, again, open to any of you. What is or was your biggest challenge in college?
Yeah, so I think I have pretty much the same answer. The biggest challenge was trying to just get through and prove that I belong. The classes were extremely challenging. That was probably the toughest part, was getting over some of those hurdles. Lots of late nights where you only get a couple hours of sleep and you have to wake up to go to the next class. But it's all worth it. It all works out in the end. And I think that I'm a better developer because you push through those things, and that's part of the challenge.
For me, I'd say probably just the transition from high school to college. It's kind of different, so I had to learn to manage my time more wisely because you do have a lot more free time when you're in college. So I think that's like a big aspect of managing my time. I think that was the biggest challenge when I first started.
I would say my biggest challenge was also just academics, just really pushing through and making sure that you're kind of keeping yourself at the standards you were, in high school. I had really high standards for myself. I wanted to produce the best work I could, and pushing that through to college was probably the biggest challenge, and being one fish in a big sea, and yeah.
I worked a few jobs while I was in undergrad. I did 3 part-time jobs, and it was a challenge figuring out how to navigate that, right? Because for me, for my year, there wasn't really someone to reach out to. And so I think figuring out what you need to figure out is a little bit what college is all about, but I think that would be the challenge is, to know what you don't know or figure out how to figure out what you got to do. And so that's something I appreciated about the challenge. I think it made me better as a student and moving on to my career. But yeah, it was a challenge for sure.
I would say that balance was the biggest challenge for me during college. Especially during the pandemic when I came home from Michigan State and I was forced back home into my bedroom from high school, and I was stuck there just like all of you were in your own homes. But I think the problem was balance. I didn't know how to turn off my academic side and my social side and figure out where I needed to be and what time.
I think initially the hardest thing was figuring out what I wanted to do. I was struggling at first, my first semester or two of college. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and going to OCC helped me figure that out. And from there, balance, like you said, it's balancing work, school, and having a life. It's difficult. So.
Okay, so that is all the questions that I have for you guys. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you very much for that very informative panel. And thanks for all the students. Can we get another round of applause for the students? So next I'd like to bring up Monique Harlan. So she can bring up the students from MSU.
Thank you, Mike. Around this time, on February the 14th, many of us were thinking about the Valentine's dinner that we just enjoyed, the date we might have had, the cards we received, or maybe you were like me and you were watching something on Netflix. But some of us were not so fortunate. Some of us had to hide. Some of us were praying. Some of us were crying because a gunman went to Michigan State University. Romans 12:15 teaches us to rejoice with those who are rejoicing and to mourn with those who mourn. And so tonight, for just a few minutes, we want to do both. You met some of the students from Michigan State, and I'd like the opportunity to take the time to honor those who are with us tonight. So when you hear your name, or what sounds like your name, please stand. Cole Banster, Charles DeCash. Remain standing, please. Samuel Coletta. You just met him, Sheikh Njai. Toby Sanders. Now, if I didn't call your name because you missed Musa, please stand. If you are a graduate of Michigan State University, please stand. Yes, anybody. So for about 2 minutes, we're all Spartans. So I'm going to say, go green. Go green. Go green. That is so weak. Go green. Thank you. I didn't graduate from Michigan State University, but my husband did a long, long time ago. Charles and Chet told me it was before they were born. But just know that on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Hazel Park Promise Zone, the staff, that we are thinking about you. You heard from the videotape, you heard from the State of the Promise Zone, that we do more than just send kids, students to school. It is a wraparound service, even today. And so we wanted to take this time to let you know how much you mean to us. And we commend you for staying the course. And we want to wish you well for the remainder of the semester. We wish you Godspeed.
Next, I'd like to introduce the Hazel Park City Manager, Edward Klobuchar, to present the 2022 William C. Hitchcock Promise Zone Service Award.
Thank you, Representative Mike McFall. First of all, everyone out here, give yourselves a big hand for showing up tonight to support this important program. This dinner just doesn't happen. It's a result of a lot of hard work by a lot of people. And the Promise Zone itself didn't just happen. It's a result of a lot of hard work from a lot of people. You've already heard the board introduced and some of the staff introduced, and we all like to think that we do great things to help this Promise Zone go forward. But there are a lot of people behind the scenes that you may be unaware of that do great and amazing things to keep this organization going. And one of those people I'm proud to introduce to you tonight as I present her with the William C. Hitchcock Award. So it is truly my honor to present this year's William C. Hitchcock Award to Linda Yono Morado. Ever since, yeah, you can applaud. Ever since Linda joined my office 7 years ago, she has helped to raise money for the Hazel Park Promise Zone and volunteered to help with Promise Zone events. Calling Linda a master fundraiser is an understatement. In fact, I'm sure many of you are here tonight because you got a call from Linda. One of the reasons Linda is committed to the Promise Zone is because she believes in its mission. Linda herself understands the importance of higher education. Linda immigrated to the United States with her family when she was only 3 years old. Linda is the first one in her family to graduate college, earning an associate degree in mental health from Macomb Community College, a bachelor's degree in social work from Marygrove Community College, and a master's degree in social work from the University of Michigan. She also completed the graduate level Certified Public Manager program at Saginaw Valley State University. Prior to working in my office, Linda worked for the Oakland County Sheriff's Department and served as a probation officer for the Pontiac and Hazel Park District Courts. Most of you know Linda as my executive assistant, but she is far more than that with the City of Hazel Park. She holds department head rank, overseeing both the communications and code enforcement departments. She is always willing to donate her time to help Hazel Park, whether she's helping build a park, volunteering with animal control, or raising money for the Promise Zone. Linda has been a top fundraiser for the Promise Zone for years. How much did Linda take in for tonight's dinner tonight in ticket sales and sponsorships? Over $39,000. That is why it is my distinct honor and pleasure to present the 2023 William C. Hitchcock Award to my wonderful friend and colleague, Linda Yono Morado. Give her a big hand. Linda, on behalf of the Grateful Promise Zone Board and a grateful Hazel Park community, it is my distinct honor and privilege to see you follow me as the recipient of the William C. Hitchcock Award for benefiting the Hazel Park Promise Zone.
Thank you very much. It's an honor and a privilege to receive this, and I'm very nervous being up here, but it's okay. I'm happy to raise money for the Promise Zone simply because I was actually a recipient over 20 years ago at Warrenmont High School. We had a similar program. It was called Winning Futures. Do I have any Warren Modders in here? So I was actually the second or third cohort to receive a scholarship that allowed me to go to college. So that's why I'm so passionate about raising money for the Promise Zone, because I had an opportunity to go to college. I actually barely graduated high school, so I barely graduated, and I ended up at University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. So Winning Futures was a blessing, just like how the Promise Zone is, and I'm happy doing this every single year, and I'm very blessed and privileged to work for the city manager's office, and I get to meet all these great people. And the last thing I want to say is a very heartfelt, sincere thanks to a lot of the local businesses that have actually become like my family over the years. You guys know who you are, and I appreciate you and I love you. Thank you.
So next we have the Sutarik Meyer Promise Zone Scholar of Excellence Award. So please give a round of applause for Stacy Cruz, Dean of Student Engagement.
Thank you for that, and good evening, everyone. Okay, it's okay. You can talk back to me. I heard somebody say. I'm here to introduce our awardee this evening, and her name is Veronica Suhersky. Hopefully I said that right. While attending Hazel Park High School, Veronica Suhersky was a member of several clubs and athletic teams, including the National Honor Society. Through NHS, she was elected to sit as a board member of Hazel Park Youth Assistance along with another student, Samantha Tomlinson, her senior year. During her year on the board, Samantha and Veronica worked with the Hazel Park Memorial Library to establish the Teen Leadership Board. Participating students completed volunteer and community service-oriented projects after school. Ms. Suhersky is a graduate of Michigan State University, go green, go white, okay, where she earned a bachelor's degree in political science pre-law with an additional degree in history in 2016. Veronica went on to attend Michigan State University College of Law. While attending law school, she was a student clinician in the immigration clinic. As a student clinician, Veronica practiced law under the guidance of a licensed attorney. During her time with the clinic, she was able to close a case for asylum that had been with the clinic for several years, resulting in granting of asylum for a victim of human trafficking for her son. Additionally, during her third year of law school, she completed a fellowship with the Dominican Aguan Defense Team at the International Criminal Court, funded by the Lori E. Tauskin Center for Human Rights for Women and Children. After graduating from MSU College of Law, she sat for and passed for the Minnesota and Michigan bar exams. She currently practices at a small firm just outside of Lansing, where she handles employment and labor law, civil rights discrimination, unemployment, license restoration, and criminal record expungement cases. In the year and a half that she has been licensed in Michigan, she has also participated in several pro bono clinics through which she volunteered for legal aid services in Michigan to help hundreds of individuals submit applications to have their criminal records expunged. And so with that being said, I'd like to bring her up here to receive the Sutar Meyer Promisome Scholar of Excellence Award.
Thank you so much. I know this is at least the third time you've heard from me, so I will try to keep it short. This is an incredible honor. I was extremely lucky. I was about 4, maybe 5 years old when I came home from kindergarten and I announced to my parents I was going to be a lawyer. No idea what that meant, not practically speaking. And I was lucky because I never changed my mind. And through high school, through college, all of it, maybe not through law school, but it was what I always wanted to be. And so a program that helps you get to college seemed destined for me, right? And so to be a part of the inauguration of the Promise Zone was unique and special, and I didn't even know it was going to be that way. And then to come back over a decade later and to be getting this award, it means a lot to me. I worked very hard in all of the academic worlds that I have been in. And a great part of that is the teachers I was fortunate enough to have at Hazel Park. I looked, and if I missed you, I'm so sorry, but I didn't see very many of my high school teachers here, but Ms. McIntosh is in the back, and I... Again, if I missed you, I'm very sorry, but you know, our teachers make our students, and our students make our teachers, in my opinion, and I was very fortunate to have such a great relationship with all of them. And this award, again, I don't know how to explain how much it means to me, so I appreciate it, and I thank you all, and especially for continuing to support the Promise Zone itself. So, thank you very much.
Next, we have the closing remarks from Norfolk Kosh.
We're running a little over here. I'm going to make this quick, and we can make it even quicker. We've heard all the great success stories of the program, from the students, the mentors. Appreciate all the support from all the businesses and the donors that keep this program alive and kicking. One of the stats that was read earlier was this SAT prep program. This is a program that, has been increasing average SAT scores year over year, as an average about 13%. So what that means is, with the score average that it is at today, pretty much with that average you can get into almost every college in the state of Michigan. So in order for us to keep this pipeline of students having access to this program, we would like to see if we can raise another $20,000 tonight. What that means is that's 200 students from both schools, and that would give them this SAT prep course to be able to, again, reach this higher average and be able to, continue using this great program. So I can get out of your way between you and the bar really quickly if somebody just wants to sign a check for $20,000. Anybody? Really? Great. Mr. Haddad, thank you. Steve, Sister Sam, thank you very much. So, having said that, I'm going to introduce beautiful Monica to come up and kind of handle the raffle.